This is TWiT.
This week, Amazon opened its cashierless store to the public. Walk into the Amazon Go, scan your phone, grab your stuff, and run as fast as you can. Or walk slowly. That is also fine. You'll get charged either way. Joining us to talk about his experience in the Amazon Go is our old friend Sam Miskovich from Ars Technica. Hello, Sam.
Hello, hello. I am calling y'all from Dallas, Texas, as opposed to Seattle, Washington. Just want to show you, this is the actual thing in the room I'm in right now at my mother's house.
Mirror, mirror on the wall. I am my mother, after all.
So just, go ahead and tag that one for any of my social media profiles. But before heading to visit some family, I did indeed stop at Amazon Go, which just opened on Monday in Seattle, right inside of one of Amazon's corporate buildings downtown on 7th Avenue. So it's not like a convenient, say, grab-and-go place for a lot of folks. It's kind of close to a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, it's more convenient if you work at Amazon to go to Amazon Go.
So this wasn't a press event or anything. You were just a regular customer buying your groceries.
They did not give me the 1 day in advance notice to go in and only casually and barely look at it. I went full-blown, wanted to see how it would actually work for the public. I'd actually tried getting in there a little over a year ago when they had announced its soft opening for employees only back in December of 2016. I'd actually at that point walked right up to the door taking photos, and there were these plainclothes security officers giving me this real stink eye. That was back in 2016. Now anyone can just go in. The app works. I actually just checked in my app. I have not had my account discontinued. It's still working on the phone. And I was able to walk in as long as I had the app. There's a turnstile with a little plastic glass plate, and you have to put down a special barcode on the Amazon Go turnstile. At that point, it lets you walk through. And what it's doing at that moment, and it's got a little bit of a pause, about the same as if you're at the airport scanning a code with your phone. The reason it's doing that pause is not to read the code. It is so a camera array can see you, get a sense of your general profile, your height, your shape, your colors, whether you're wearing a really stupid hat, and then create a profile of you. And at that point, you are handed off to a grid of over 100 connected cameras that all look like little 2.5-inch hard drives, all arrayed in the ceiling. And you've already, on the video feed, shown some of the images that I took of these little cameras. There's a few globe-style security cameras, but most of these look to be a bit more of an infrared style with a very small lens and a processing unit baked in. That's, I believe, taking a more of a profile of you. So the idea is, once you've scanned yourself, it's just watching you shop. And the whole commerce part of the shop, which, by the way, is like a 7-Eleven in terms of grab-and-go groceries, pardon me, is you just take whatever you want to buy, put it in a bag. And then if you decide, oh, I don't want that thing, you put it back in the shelf. And once you leave, all of the cameras have tracked you. And about 10 minutes later, an email comes in that says, this is what you bought. And if for any reason it got it wrong, you go into the app and you say, I want that refunded. And it'll just refund it. And the 2 times I went in and bought stuff and tried to mess with it, it charged me exactly for what I took.
This is kind of blowing me away. So the barcode, it's not like it's scanning that and then that makes a connection to your phone to say, all right, anything that, well, I guess it kind of is, right? It's connecting your phone to you, to the cameras, and to everything you pull off the shelves. It just seems like it would be really easy to throw off because it's scanning so many people all at the same time.
Exactly, and the whole point of these zillions of cameras is that they can therefore track up to 90 people. That's the fire marshal limit, and I imagine that's also the technological limit. This is an 1,800 square foot spot, so a bit bigger than an average bodega, barely. And again, with all the stuff you pick up, there's no extra codes, there's no extra weight sensors, there's no RFID chips. If you pick up a Coke can, it is just a Coke can. Everything that you're picking up is being watched, and the whole alpha and omega of this process is it seeing what you take and then you take it. And in the article I did for Ars Technica earlier this week, I looked at, while I was there, the way everything was arranged in the store. Colors were very important. Shapes were very important. It felt like anywhere you went, the very important thing was, one, that you could just grab everything and it'd be visible. I mean, you can see in the image right now I'm looking, it's these Gatorade bottles that are sort of perfectly colored and aligned. I'm not sure that the color is necessarily important for the sensors, but it is important if you decide you don't want something and you want to put it back. Because there are a lot of people there who are making sure everything is presented and placed perfectly. And they all have little smartphones that are tracking all the inventory in case you screw anything up as a customer. And they weren't answering a lot of very specific questions about technology. Anytime I asked anything, I was told, go check our website, and where you see a generic message about machine learning and camera sensing. So Amazon is not really eager to give away the secrets of how this is working.
But you're saying that they're not necessarily scanning our face and not recognizing us that way. Is that the implication?
I think if they were trying to just scan the face, perhaps some fidelity and some information would be lost. I think they need a lot of data in order to be 100% sure of who is buying what. Now, again, if you have multiple people with you, let's say you've got a family and you want to let some kids in, you take your sensor, you turn your code on your phone. It's a giant QR code, and you tap it to let someone else in. Because the idea is that the code is matching that person with your shopping profile, which, by the way, has your Amazon account loaded, no Amazon Prime required. And it also has your credit card information loaded. And you say, this is the credit card I want charged for all my Amazon Go shopping. From that point on, anyone who's scanned to your shopping profile charges your account. Let's say you decide to grab something for someone who's a little feeble. Oh, I'll reach that for you, miss. If you grab that item, you're charged for it.
Oh, so they're teaching
no helping people out.
Good Samaritans.
Yeah.
Out the door. Okay, so you said earlier that if you didn't buy something that shows up in your receipt, you can just say, I didn't buy it. What's keeping me from grabbing a whole bunch of stuff and then saying I didn't buy it?
That's a great question, Megan. In fact, just
besides my moral compass, I mean.
Well, I tested my moral compass because when I went in, I said, well, goodness, that refund thing seems really easy to do. And it even tells you you don't have to take stuff back if you hit refund. So sure enough, I went in for my first shopping trip, and after picking up and dropping things, juggling stuff around, I had my phone in my hand, a camera in my hand, some other stuff. I kept doing all this random crap to try to trip it up. Didn't work. So then when I left and everything was charged appropriately, I just said, nah, I don't want that yogurt. And I tapped refund on the yogurt, and I said I didn't like it, and it gave me my money back. And I thought about eating the yogurt, and then I went back for a second trip and just handed the yogurt to somebody. Oh. And he just gave me this sort of look like, really? You're going to give me the yogurt? Okay.
Look, I'm a journalist, all right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It's about ethics in yogurt journalism. But my second trip in, I actually was asked by my boss, hey, can you go back with something you bought and eat it or drink it while you're in the shop? So I did. I took a Coke and popped it before walking in. This is what I had purchased. And then I went and grabbed the same Coke to try and buy while drinking the first one, went around, took that Coke out, put it away, drank it again, bought it again, put it away again, and ultimately took one of those with the other one in my hand. And it charged me for just one. It knew. It just understood it seemed to be only interested in the merchandise. Like it's watching that interaction, and that's really it.
Wow. This is kind of blowing my mind. Mm-hmm. When we first heard about this, I was kind of like, oh, yeah, that's kind of cool. I don't know how I thought it would work, but this sounds really complex. Like, I'm really amazed that Amazon could track up to 90 people from the top down. It's not like the most identifiable portion of you is being followed to add up the things that you add. It's almost like they know that this blob of hair is different from that blob of hair.
I will say there is one other set of sensors that I was not 100% sure on, and no one answered this, but there are apparent sensors in each refrigerator unit, and there may be sensors back in the walls. So it's not just the array that's up there, and that's the obvious one. But I think there could be all kinds of other camera tracking. There it is, if you're looking on the web, on the camera feed. One of those little chunks was inside of each shelf of the refrigerators, and that was a lot of those. And I saw them in other spots on the walls, but were harder to pick out. So the total camera array is currently unclear. And I mean, it took them a little over a year to get to this point. And before that, they had definitely been testing privately in these sort of fake grocery rooms inside of Amazon headquarters itself, where you had to actually go through all these gates and barcode things to even see them. So this is not, blink and it's there. It's been a while. And this is an incredibly controlled environment, meaning not a shopping mall. This isn't clothing where you're grabbing a jacket with a puppy shape off of a shelf. These are clear, rigid squares and cans coming out of a shelf in a very specific spot. So I imagine we're going to see over the next week or two people trying to game the system, people coming up with tricks. Perhaps a giant poofy hat would do it. I've actually seriously thought about going to like an anachronistic society in Seattle, getting people with giant Renaissance era hats, and just 8 of us going in just to see if perhaps that obscuring of visual data would do the trick. It's really unclear what will be gamed and what will be controlled and what will be figured out and exploited. But if it's a computer system, people will try.
Yeah. Well, also, but then it's connected to your Amazon account. And if we've learned anything in the last few years, we can't survive without Amazon on Earth, right? I mean, I'm at the point where I get something from Amazon every day. What was that?
The thing is, they can't survive without us. They want this data. And man, oh man, do they love the idea of knowing every single way we shop. They want to be part of the entire commerce process, whether it's credit cards, shopping directly from Amazon, from partners. And goodness, wouldn't it be great if they could watch us inside of malls and create perfectly tracked profiles with our contact information linked with every single click. I really do wonder what the 3 steps ahead of this process is, because what I've learned in years of looking at Amazon is what we see publicly facing in the consumer field is just 3 steps behind what they're really doing. So clearly they want physical domination. Owning Whole Foods is going to be a part of that. What they track over at Whole Foods is going to be really interesting. They've said this is not coming to Whole Foods, and God, those stores are a lot larger than 1,800 square feet, so I can't even imagine how many little hard drive size cameras it would take. I know there would have to be some other scanning and seeking process that would have to come in like V2 or V3, but this is not the end. They're not done watching us in public.
I know, and I think that it's sort of like the element of distraction. Like everyone's concerned with like, how can I shoplift from this store? But really what small items can be shoplifted, obviously people will get away with shoplifting, but this money they're saving on not having to pay people to work there is way more than that.
And I've been talking a lot more about the technical stuff than about the sheer humanity of you're not talking to a person. They're not checking your stuff. You're not asking questions. You're not doing that sort of clerk interaction. And as you'd said at the top of the segment, Megan, there's people who just don't really want that depending on their store. If they really hate the guy at Whole Foods or Trader Joe's who's got that man bun or whatever. And conversely, there was a sensation I had when I was there of talking to the woman. The one clerk who actually needed to interact with customers was the 21 and up beer and wine section handler. You had to have your ID checked in order to grab beer and wine, which you would then just throw in your bag and go and not even think about it. And it was this nice conversation. How's it going? How long have you been involved with this store? What do you think? And she asked a couple questions about my experience, and it was very brief, but compared to the whole like staring at phone and silently marching through and oohing and awing at the robots watching me, it was this nice little moment.
Was it quiet while you were there? Like, was everybody mostly, just silent?
I was on day 1, and that meant everybody was just asking questions. In fact, at one point I'd said something slightly technical, and I got swarmed. People are like, do you know how it works? Is this a weight sensor? Is this an RFID chip? I'm like, even if I did know, I wasn't going to tell you, man.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Sam, if I saw you, I would probably ask you questions too. You look like you might work there.
What is that supposed to mean?
You're just missing the man bun.
It's the orange, I don't know. I've gotten myself into a place I don't want.
This is getting into some gingerism right here is what it is.
Sorry. No, you just also look very Seattle.
Really nice Americano coffee just to seal the cliche deal.
Thank you so much for joining us, Sam. I hope you'll come back, even though I seem to have insulted you.
Until you get the camera rigs to just track me and figure out my biological profile and just have virtual Sam replace me, I figure that's the next step for this Amazon Go stuff. But I'll be going back. I'm going to check it out, write about it some more. So keep it tuned to Ars Technica if you're really interested about this tech and about me trying to exploit it, because I'm going to try.
Sam Miskovich, also known as Samazon Go, is a culture reporter at Ars Technica and at Sam Red on Twitter. Thank you so much.
See you guys soon.
Sam. Take care.